What's up, guys? Coach Nate here. Really excited to welcome professional triathlete Jarrod Shoemaker to the channel. We have a great conversation around his Olympic career in triathlon, racing Ironman distance triathlons, to getting ready for his first Boston Marathon on Monday. We talk about lessons runners could learn from triathletes in terms of being a little bit more adaptable and being a little bit stronger, and we talk about his coaching and just his life. It's a great conversation. I think you'll get a ton out of what Jarrod has to say. Let's go talk to him. So Jarrod, I got you down here on the ground. Thanks. You're like, great. The first thing I want before a marathon is a soggy ass.
Hey,
we're just getting you ready.
I think everybody's going to be soggy on Monday.
I know,
no matter what they try and do. It's going to be wet.
It's going to be wet. But as a triathlete, you're used to being a little bit on the wet side. So I was excited to interview you because here's someone who really started off as a runner and then ventured into triathlon. And that was something that I did as well. I got into running and really loved it, and then fell into triathlon myself for a while. What made you want to make that change?
I think ultimately it was I'm very good at running, but I'm never going to make the Olympics. And I had that background in swimming. Biking's easier to pick up. It's hard, but it's easier to pick up. So I think it was more of that. If I want to keep being athletic at the highest level that I can be, that was kind of where I needed to go. I was never going to run 13 flat for 5K. Maybe 1330s, 1340s is what I could have gotten down to just running. But triathlon was also better for my body too. I had running injuries, and when I added cross training in, I ran faster. So kind of figure stuff out,
It's funny, I call myself an accidental triathlete because I first started to ride a little bit, and the same sort of thing. I was cross training for running. I was like, shit, I might as well do a triathlete. What is the difference in mentality, if any, between triathletes and runners, right? Because we have these different endurance athletes out there, like they both know how to suffer, but you kind of have a foot in both worlds. Like, what's it like?
Yeah, I think triathletes are willing to adapt more. I don't know if that sounds weird. We kind of look at things as like how first adapters, and triathletes tend to be first adapters more, as opposed to runners. It doesn't make one worse than the other, but I think triathletes are willing to try things out and do things a little bit differently because they know that
a younger sport, more things are changing.
And swimming, biking, and running helps them do each one better, right? So sometimes runners would be better served going for a bike ride every once in a while, going for a swim. And you see that in some of the elites. Once they hit their max mileage, if they want to add stuff in, they're going to add in, Mev was elliptigoing for his extra stuff. So I think that's one of the
elliptigos in the triathlon world?
We're down in Florida, there's elliptigos on the path that we have now. It's funny. Who knows? I've never used one.
Elliptigo in the Olympics?
Yeah, right.
Who knows? Okay, that's really cool. So you're starting to see a little bit more adaptability with triathletes, and that openness of just kind of switching and trying different sports. Because it's true. Because if you're a runner, and let's say you're dealing with an Achilles issue, like sometimes if your only option is running or not running, most people will choose running until they literally can't anymore. Yeah. But if you're a triathlete, you're like, I can't run today, I'll do my bike workout instead.
And that's one of the things that I found. And actually, unfortunately, to bring up my brother, he was planning on running Boston, and he just ran too much. And he's not built to run 100 miles a week. And he might beg to differ, but he's built to run 70-75 miles a week, and he should have done that plus cross training. Instead, he hurt himself, and he can't run. So you hit that. Like, what do you learn from that? And you should learn that it is okay to do other things.
That's really cool. So we're talking about cross training a little bit. Those are things we talk about a lot with runners. You are not only an athlete yourself, and I want to dig into a little bit more about what you're doing athletically, but you're coaching.
Yep. Yeah.
And you are with is it Apex?
Yeah, Apex coaching.
Apex coaching. I don't know why you'd say Apex. That's not a word.
No, probably not.
Probably not.
I
should know these things.
Our good education didn't help you there.
I should know basic pronunciation of things. What is this? What is this ethics? So, how long have you been with them, and what's their deal? How did you get into coaching?
I've always liked coaching. Even in college, I was always interested in why I was doing stuff. After college, I coached my old high school, Lincoln Sudbury. I was the assistant coach of the swim team for 5 years.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun, and I learned about coaching there. And I've always wanted to get into coaching. I've always seen that as kind of my end game after triathlon. And Apex is based out of Boulder, and my coach for the last 4 years, Neil Henderson, is kind of the head honcho there, and we have about 8 or 9 coaches kind of within the group.
Yeah.
So 2 years ago I said, hey, I'm interested in starting to coach, and so I kind of came into the group, and it's fun. I really enjoy coaching. Right now I'm coaching mostly pros, but some age groupers. I enjoy it. I think it's fun. It's cool to help other people achieve their goals.
Sure.
And learn why they're motivated, and to see them succeed. I like that. I enjoy that. So,
what are some of the? I think this might be an interesting thing to discuss. A lot of times when we look at elite athletes, we, for good reasons, put them up onto kind of a higher pedestal. But a lot of these elite athletes some of them are really young.
Yeah.
So what are some of the patterns with really young, eager triathletes who are wanting to be pro? I dare say to use the word mistakes, but you know what I mean? Like, what are some of the things you see with those guys?
A lot of it's actually holding people back and telling them, yes, you could do more, but you don't need to do more. You will do more in time. You don't want people overtraining and doing too much too early. I mean, you have to learn to love what you're doing, to enjoy it, and why you want to do it. And just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it.
Right.
There's probably like 5 cliches I just said in there, but it's true. It really is true. Like I have
believe it, achieve it.
Yeah, I have a junior. She's a junior in high school, and she tells me I can do more. I'm like, yeah, you can do more because your body's resilient. You're getting, you're young, but I don't want you to do it. I want you to do what you're doing and do it well, and we'll go from there. Yeah,
Patience in life, man.
Yeah, and then you get to be 35 like I am, and you go, oh wait, there's no more patience. I got to do what I want to do, which is why I'm running Boston.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, do you see yourself, or do you see like how am I trying to say this? Like, in any of the athletes you're coaching right now, you're like, oh man, like I'm almost coaching like the younger me. Like I like maybe did it like the things around patience and other things like that. Were those things when you were a new athlete? Was that what were some of your early battles?
Yeah, I think I learned a lot when I was running in college, and part of me running in college was getting injured and getting hurt. So I feel like.
A little bit. There we go. Now we can actually see it, Jarrod.
I got hurt in college and a couple times, and so for me, I actually learned where my limit was. And it's hard sometimes for people to learn where that limit is without getting hurt, without hurting, without like having to take time off. So that's one of the things that I'm trying to do. But at the same time, it's good for an athlete to learn that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because then you learn where that limit is and you learn how to get around it. I had all sorts of injuries, and a lot of it actually came from running on the track, running circles. So now I've learned that for me, running on the track isn't necessarily the best thing. And so I don't actually have my athletes run on the track that much. And heck, for triathlon, you're rarely actually running on a flat surface, running around corners in circles. So, I try to let my athletes learn their lessons at the same time trying to push them in the right direction.
Guide them in the right
direction. I'm definitely not a overbearing do this or else coach. I try and let my athletes learn their own lessons, and then say, this is why you should be doing something.
So you've been racing and competing for a while, and what keeps you still excited?
Honestly, it's just seeing what I can do. My mantra right now is kind of be the best me I can be, and that's it. I want to see how hard I can push myself. Yeah. There are lots of really good triathletes out there. I mean, unbelievable guys, and I'd like to be competing against them. But if that's not where I am, if I'm not there I want to win the race, but if I can't compete with them, I still want to see how hard I can push myself.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where I'm at right now with my training and racing, and it's just going out there every day and just pushing myself as hard as I can.
Interesting. Has it always been that way, or has that been something that's kind of a newer? Because it's like a little bit more of like a Zen introspective approach to running in a good way.
Yeah.
But it's hard when I feel like a lot of athletes will say that in a way that they're trying to convince themselves that they believe in that.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with that when you're also a professional athlete who has a lot of external pressure to perform?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it came very easy to me early, and I didn't really think much about it. And it started getting harder as I got later, like into even the middle of my career, which is a little weird. Sometimes it's the opposite for people. But I think that made me learn a lot and think about why I was doing it. You know, the easy way out, I think, would have been just to say, hey, I'm done. Yeah. But I enjoy it. I enjoy training. I enjoy racing. I enjoy everything that comes around it. I enjoy working with companies and sponsorship stuff. So for me, that's the reason that I still do it. And I feel like I can still help motivate people. I can still, provide something to other people who are either looking up to me or I'm coaching. I've actually hopped in races that my athletes have coached. I'm not really doing ITU draft league anymore, but I still jump in them because for me, it's a good learning experience to see things. I can kind of watch them out of the corner of my eye, but I also learn what the level of competition is like.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So you just kind of stay sharp on it.
Yeah.
So you are still doing you've done a lot of different distances in triathlon, from the draft legal racing, which is the Olympic style format, and you've dabbled in Ironman as well.
Yep.
What made you want to go for the Ironman? Because I know a lot of shorter course athletes are like, hell no, I don't want to go that far.
I love ITU racing. I love draft legal racing, but there comes a point where you're not fast enough, and that's even running a 15:35K isn't fast enough. It is. And the young guys are so quick and so fast, and it's also now skewed towards sprint distance racing instead of Olympic distance. So that's one big thing. Honestly, that's one huge thing, is that the Olympic distance is kind of been phased out.
Interesting.
I wouldn't be surprised, not Tokyo, but LA is 2024, right? I wouldn't be surprised if that's sprint distance for ITU. So I think that's
just
one issue.
Just faster, more exciting kind of thing?
Correct. And so I knew that I had to make that progression up to the longer distance. And honestly, the hardest thing for me has been getting the bike. It's not necessarily going hard on the bike. It's actually been the TT position on the bike has been hard for me to sit in. Because
in ITU racing, you have drop bars, but you don't have to spend that much time on it. And you guys are really on road bikes.
Yeah, exactly. You're in road bikes, and the position is so much different.
Yeah.
So it's just a very different type of racing, and that's been the hardest thing for me to learn. But I actually like Ironmans, to be honest. I don't mind it. You just kind of get in this zone and just go.
Yeah, different things. I was going to say, it does feel like a different style race. What have you learned from Ironman that, maybe has kind of carried over to the other areas of training?
Honestly, one of the things I've learned is that I don't think it's a really, really good idea to do lots of Ironman pace training. I think going faster and staying faster is better. And you look at a lot of athletes. Lionel Sanders does very little Ironman pace training, does a lot of faster stuff. Honestly, I think that's the biggest thing that I've taken out of it, is that you want to try and stay with the faster stuff, because it makes it easier to do some of that harder stuff. It's also a coaching thing. You want people to learn how to go hard so that they're easy, or their tempo pace, whatever.
So getting exposure to the distance, but still keeping a little bit of the mentality of being a shorter course speed athlete, because it's easy to just fall into the long and slow trap all the time.
Exactly. Yep.
Interesting. And you could almost probably say the same thing about marathoners.
Yes. Oh, for sure. I see a lot of marathoners that should be doing speed work, and they just go run.
Yeah, all the time. So great. So tell me a little bit about 361.
Yeah, I've been working with them for 2 years. They're just getting into the U.S. market. They're one of the biggest companies in China. I mean, huge company. And they came into the U.S. market, I think, 3 years ago. They started sponsoring some of us 2 years ago. Their shoes are awesome. I mean, I've run in a bunch of different brands over my years, and at this point in my career, it wasn't a, hey, who's going to give me the most money? It was, what shoes work? What shoes do I like? What shoes do I want to work with? And looked at a bunch of shoes, and the gimmicky shoes, I don't know.
Yeah, totally.
Everybody tries to differentiate themselves somehow. So with 361, it's been cool because they have a lot of designers that have been with other companies that are in the company now. So they're normal shoes. They're just good, normal running shoes.
Good quality.
Yeah, exactly.
Running shoes.
They're built well, and so for me, I just love them.
We'll have to check those out. Yeah. That's awesome. This is going to probably be up after the Boston Marathon race, but we have an opportunity to do a little future forecasting. What are you excited about race-wise on Monday in terms of the competitive field? And we're throwing Jarrod in there as the dark horse in the
that's
rain.
not happening.
If there's enough water,
I think about it. Yeah, if they go the wrong way, maybe it'll work. Yeah.
If there's enough water and you have to swim at some point, I think you got it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. For me, 2:35 is kind of what I'm hoping for.
That's great.
I think 2:30 maybe if it was a perfect day, but it'll probably be 2:35, 2:40. Yeah, the goal is just to do it, to enjoy it, to go hard.
Yeah. Are you paying attention to anyone in the elite fields, men's and women's, or anyone for the race?
Yeah, I know them. I was really excited to watch Dathan race. I'm good friends with him. We've kept in touch over the years.
He's in Florida as well?
He's in Michigan. He was down in Florida training, actually, right near where I live. It's going to be a strong person's race. I think Desi has a good shot. I think Shalene will do really well. Yeah, hey, I want the Americans, right?
Yeah, right.
So we'll see. Yeah, it'll be fun.
That's so cool. Well, hey, let's go get off this wet ground and warm up. Yeah. And good luck on Monday, man.
Yes,
thank you
very much.
For chatting.
Yeah.
Cheers. We talk about his background, his athletic career as racing as a triathlete all over the world, his nervousness about racing Boston on Monday, his experience coaching different levels of athletes, and his whole career. Why can't I do this? Why is this so bad?